Hi, good morning. Welcome to Barre. My name is Claire. I'm your instructor for today. I'm going to go ahead and read our campus rec waiver, and then we can go ahead and get started. So in order to make these classes as freely accessible to our participants, we will be using a verbal warning and assumption of risk at the beginning of class. Participation in this online class is voluntary. Physical activity programs may result in injury, and by participating, you assume the risk of injury that may result from your participation. We strongly recommend that you participate from a space that is suitable for this activity. For example, make sure that you have moved nearby furniture and other potential hazards. If you are participating in a yoga class or class that involves laying on the ground, we recommend using a mat, or if you don't have one, a carpeted area. Participants are encouraged to stop if they experience pain or injury and should seek appropriate medical advice or care as needed. William & Mary Health and Wellness strongly recommends that each participant have an annual physical examination and follow the advice of your healthcare provider before participating. I've read that enough. I feel like I should have it memorized by this point, but I do not. So we can go ahead and get started. For today's class, you will just need some room to move, a mat or carpeted area, somewhere to rest your hands during the bar portion, and some light hand weights, around 1 to 3 pounds. I'm using some household items, a can of chickpeas, and a water bottle, but it's whatever you want. If you don't want to use those today, no worries. We're going to start today with just some nice stretches. So keeping our feet shoulder distance apart, slight bend in those legs. We're going to roll our shoulders forward, engaging the slight plie, waking ourselves up this morning. Good. We have 2 more rolls and then we'll switch directions. Going backwards now, maybe deepening that plie, shooting those knees a bit more forward, feeling that stretch in those calves. We have 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. We're going to get our heart rate a little bit more raised now by doing a standing march with attitude. So what that means is instead of the regular standing march, you're going to have your foot in a nice 45-degree bend with the inside of your knee facing up towards the ceiling. Bringing your arms above your head in a nice oval shape will start. So lifting up like so. Good. Getting that heart rate a bit more raised, feeling those legs start to wake up, that blood start pumping. I always say, even though it is 11 p.m. on a Saturday, I always still feel like I'm waking up. So waking up together. Good. We have 4, and then we're going to add on 3, 2. This time we'll add a twist. So bringing opposite arm to opposite leg, letting that finger touch right around that ankle, feeling that core engage, as well as those legs. That heart rate start to raise a bit more. Good. We have 4, 3, 2. Last one. Good. We're going to get those legs a little bit more woken up, bringing our feet into a nice wide stance, a little bit more than shoulder distance. We're going to shoot those hips to our right side, sending them back with our right knee above our ankle for a nice side lunge. And then we'll straighten up. So we're going to come down, and then we can stretch our arms to the side. Down and up, shooting those hips back, keeping that nice proud chest, feeling that stretch on the inside of that left leg, as well as that right leg start to wake up. And we can add in a twist, bringing our left arm to right leg and back up. So we're lifting that right arm to the ceiling, left arm to our toe. Good work. Good. We have 4 more. 3, 2. Last one. Good. We're now going to shift our hips so they are square towards the other side and go into a nice low lunge, planting our right arm and our left arm on either side of our foot, feeling that stretch in our right glute, leaning into that before lifting our right arm up towards the ceiling for another twist. Good. Lowering it back down, we're going to lift our arms up while staying in this lunge position, lifting our upper body before we'll pivot that left leg out to a nice warrior pose. Feeling that stretch once again on that leg before planting our left arm on our leg and stretching over, feeling that stretch on the side of our body. Good. And then coming back up, we just get to repeat that all on the other side. So now we'll shift our hips to our left side, shooting them back, keeping that left knee above our ankle, and then coming back up. So now we're feeling that stretch in our inner right thigh. Good. We have 4 more, and then we'll add on with that twist. 3. Last 2. Last one. Good. Now we can add in that twist, right arm to left leg and up. I am feeling very tight this morning, so this feels amazing. Really taking that time to stretch ourselves out. We have 4, 3, 2, last one. Good. We're now going to pivot so our hips are square towards the other side, planting our fingers and hands on either side of our foot, feeling that nice stretch before lifting our arm up towards the ceiling. Good. Feeling that stretch in our glute. We're bringing that arm right back down and lifting our arms up and pivoting that foot for a warrior pose. Good. And we can plant that right arm and stretch over. Good work. Coming back up. We are going to keep our feet in this nice wide stance to get our glutes a little bit more woken up, as well as our legs, and get acquainted with our positions. So bringing either hand to either side of us, we're going to go into a grand plie. So our toes are now turned out. We have a nice neutral spine. Our glutes aren't sticking in or out. And we shoot those knees out to the side and then come up. I like to picture I'm sliding up and down a wall for plies, for my alignment, meaning we have a nice neutral spine. If we want, we can add in that stretch above our head, our body, and lower. Sometimes when it comes to the morning, I forget how to speak. And I think you guys do experience that as well sometimes, and you get to hear my stream of consciousness. Good. We have 4, 3, 2, last one. Now we're going to stay down, and we're going to stretch in front of us, curving our spine, and then back out. So we're curving in front and out, staying stationary in that plie position. Feeling those legs start to wake up. Good. We have 4, 3, 2, last one. Good. All right, we're now going to come to the end of our mat to finish up our warm-up. So feet shoulder distance apart, we're going to bring our hands to either sides of our heads, shoot our hips back with a nice flat back, and walk our fingers out into a plank position. Good. So for our plank, we want a nice long flat back, core engaged, drawing a straight line from our shoulders to our wrists, fingers nice and spread out. And we can now shoot those hips back into downward dog. Maybe pedaling out those feet. Good. And to finish up our warm-up, we're going to come back into this plank position, and we have 2 options here. You can stay in this plank and just tap your knees like so, or you can join me in doing 20 seconds of high knees. Choosing whatever option you want. We're going to start in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. Drop those knees, shoot those hips back, going down into child's pose. If you want to join me in grabbing a quick sip of water, I encourage you to do so before we go into our arm section. Whew. Great work, everyone. We're going to do some work on the mat, and then we'll go into standing. So to start off on our mat, once you have that quick sip of water, we're going to come back into our plank position. You can either have your knees on the ground for this or then lifted. We're going to come onto our forearms and make them parallel with one another. So for me, my left arm is right in front of my right arm. And if you want to lift up those knees, you can, or keep them down. We're just doing twist to the side. So we twist to the side, opening up, lower, and then twist to the other side. You can do it on your knees and just lift that knee as you twist, or up on your toes for a side plank. We're doing 10. That was 1. That's 2. Getting lost in the music or the sound of my voice. That's 3. This is 4. We're almost halfway there. 5, 6, 7. We're so close. I'm feeling that burn. 8. 2 more. 9. Last 1. This is 10. Good. Coming back onto those knees, take a minute. Take a break. Those are challenging. So regain your breath. Good work. We're now going to do a shoulder tap, but with a little bit of a twist. We're going to pretend we're a beast and do a static beast. So coming in to a tabletop position, your knees are directly below your hips. You're drawing a straight line from the shoulders to your wrist, fingers nice and spread out. And we have 2 options here. You can stay on your knees like so and just do a shoulder tap like this. Or if you're looking for an added option, you can lift those knees off the mat and tap like so for 10. Just pick whatever option you want. We're gonna start in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. We have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Take a minute, regain your breath. We are now going to grab one of our light hand weights while on the mat. We're doing these 3 movements. So we're going to do this, and then we'll repeat that all one more time. So coming back into that static beast position with those knees on the mat, you're going to grab your light hand weight if you have it. If not, just do this movement without the weight. We're going to glue that right elbow to our side like so. With our gaze fixed on the mat, we're just going to do a tricep extension here. So we're just going to extend our arm behind us and then curl it back in. This is just like what we do often in our standing arm section, just changing it up a bit, keeping that core engaged, feeling that in the back of our arm. That's the tricep. Good. We have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. You can drop that hand weight for a second. We're going to repeat that all now. So we're doing the twists, the shoulder taps, and then we'll do our extensions on the other side. So taking a minute, if you want to grab a quick sip of water, you can. We're now going to just repeat that all. So coming back down, remembering our options for those twists, either keeping those knees on the mat or lifting them and doing a full plank. We're coming down onto our forearms, making them parallel. We're doing 10 again, starting in 3, 2, 1. So we have 10 twists. Leaning into the struggle of the pain, or not pain, but uncomfortableness. We are here to push ourselves, but still feel healthy and energized while going into finals. That's 5. We have 4. We're halfway there. Good. We have 3. We have 2. 1 more. Good. Coming back down onto those knees. Taking a minute, those are challenging. So taking a minute, regaining your breath before we go back into those static beast shoulder taps. So channeling our inner beast, maybe picturing where the wild things are. That's the first thing that comes to mind when I think of the word beast. So we can come into our tabletop position now. Once again, you either keep those knees on the mat or you lift them up. Either option is fine. It's just whatever you're feeling this morning, starting in with whatever option you want in 3, 2, and 1. So we're tapping for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Dropping those knees onto the mat, maybe take a minute to take that weight off those wrists while grabbing our hand weight again. We're now going to do those tricep extensions on the other arm. So whatever arm you didn't do before, joining me back in that static beast position or tabletop with those knees on the mat. We're now going to glue our left elbow to our side with a flat back, gaze fixed to the mat. We're going to extend back and curl in. Good. There's a lot of birds chirping outside my window right now. Whenever I call my family, they always act like I'm in some kind of like nature reserve. I guess they're very loud. We have 10 more. Thankfully, no cicadas yet. I haven't seen any, at least in Williamsburg. Dreading it though. We have 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job, everyone. You can put that hand weight to the side. My brain is very bushy this morning. We're going to stretch out our wrists before we go into standing. So taking those hands and flipping the tops of them so they're facing in towards our mat. We're just going to put some weight into them. Just stretch them out for a second. Good. Before rolling them out, I always like to say, now pretend you're Wanda from WandaVision, doing some spells, or a witch, or just rolling out your hands. It's whatever you need to envision. I just like envisioning Wanda. All right, we can go into standing now. If you want to grab another quick sip of water, I encourage you to do so with me. We're going to go ahead, and if you have those light hand weights and would like to use them, you can grab those now. We're going to start with some port bras. So we're going to bring our feet just shoulder distance apart, slight bend in those legs. We're keeping our hands by our sides, palms facing in. We're just going to lift to the side and lower. So we're doing a nice even lift, keeping a slight bend in those knees, not locking them, gaze fixed in front of us. Good. Making sure we're not straightening our neck, engaging that core to keep ourselves stabilized. There's really very few points in a workout where you can't engage your core to both energize your entire body and keep yourself more balanced. Good. We have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now we're going to keep them lifted next time we lift them, and we're just going to cross in front of us, right over left, out to the side, and then other side. So now our palms are facing down. If we need to drop those light hand weights, no worries. This is challenging to keep them lifted. It'll be a great workout even without them. But we're crossing in front and behind. Great work. We have 8 more. We have 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're now going to keep those arms out in front of us and do tiny little crosses for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Great job, guys. Take a minute, shake out those arms. That's a little challenging little combo. Whew, great work. We are now going to work our sides a bit more, as well as our arms and our chest. So we're going to start by lifting our arms with a nice 90-degree bend, opening to our sides and then closing into the center. So we're just doing a nice chest press here. Feeling that right here in our chest as we close in and out, keeping it nice and lifted at 90 degrees. Good. Great work. We have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We can drop those hands for a minute and shake them out. We're now going to work our biceps a bit more. So we're gonna start by doing some hammer curls. We're bringing our arms straight out in front of us like so, palms facing in towards each other, direct line like so. We're going to curl up and down, keeping that slight bend in those legs. If we need to drop those light hand weights, no worries. Keeping them lifted is challenging. If it is too much, you can always drop those hands to your sides and do a hammer curl like so, or you can keep them lifted, whatever option feels right for you today. Whether you're doing this live, recorded, we have 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. You can drop those hands and shake them out for a minute. We're now going to flip those palms where they're facing up. And we'll have 2 options. You can either keep those elbows by your sides, just do a bicep curl like so, curling your arms in, or you can bring them back up to that straight line from your shoulders like so, and curl in and out. Lifting them just adds a little bit more of a challenge, but it's whatever option feels right for you. Leaning into that burn, pushing yourself while making sure we're never pushing ourselves too hard to the point we're at pain. We want this to be a challenge, but we also want to feel energized. We want to feel like we can go through our day feeling better after doing this class. Good. We have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. Take a minute, shake out those hands. We are now going to step out into a little bit more of a wider position to work our lat muscles and then finish off this warm up or this arms section with a little bit more of some bicep work. So we're going to start by bringing those hands out to our sides like so, making a nice star shape, pretending there's 2 ropes on either side of our hands. And we're just going to pull them in so our elbows are squeezed towards our sides and then release out. So squeezing in and then releasing. I like to picture that I have 2 strings and I'm pulling them in and releasing. If you want to add in, you can add a plie when you squeeze in and release. So plie, squeeze in and release. Good. The lats are one of the biggest muscle groups in our upper body, so it's always great to work those out. Good. We have 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. We're going to finish off today's workout with some more bicep curls, but with a little bit of a twist. So we're going to come down back into that plie position and stay down here. If this is too much, you can always straighten those legs, but it's just an added option. And we're going to curl up, starting at this 90-degree bend. We're going to curl up and down. So we're not fully extending, we're just staying in this curled position. And if we want to get those legs a little bit more incorporated, lift that right heel with me and sink into that plie a bit more. Maybe plieing down when you squeeze up. Just getting a nice slight pulse in there. We're about to go into that leg section. So we're going to get them a little bit more woken up. We can drop that right heel now and lift our left. So we're working that whole body, feeling those legs start to shake a bit. Those arms are already burning. Our whole body is energized. Good. To finish off this section, you have a few options. You can either stay down and pulse like so, or if you're looking for a super added option, making sure you have your balance, you can lift both heels as we curl in for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. That was a great challenge. You did great. Let's drop those light hand weights. We won't need them again. Let's stretch out our hands before we go in, our arms. I always say hands. Our arms before we go into our leg section. So crossing that right arm across our body, grabbing in front of or behind that joint, but not on it. Maybe swaying from side to side if you're listening to music. You can do it to the beat. Good. Before shooting that right arm behind us, pressing down on that elbow, letting our fingers walk down our spine. And then bringing that right arm out in front of us, palm facing away to tug on those fingers slightly. Good. And then we can cross that left arm in front of us, not grabbing on that joint. Still swaying. Then twisting that hand behind our body, letting those fingers walk down our spine. Good. And finally bringing that left arm in front of us, pulling on those fingers, palm facing out. And for one final extra added stretch, just because I feel like I need it, we're going to stretch out our neck, bringing our hands behind our head, pulling on our neck slightly, feeling that nice stretch behind our head. Good. If you want to grab a quick sip of water, I encourage you to join me. I'm going to do the same. Last week, I got a comment that someone said I talk like I'm a skipper on the Jungle Cruise in Disney World, which I thought was hilarious and a great compliment. So happy to feel that way. We're going to go ahead and go into our leg section now. So getting a chair, desk, something to rest your legs on. We're going to start with our feet square, or our hips squared towards the chair or desk or whatever you're using, our bar. We're gonna have our left leg in front of our right with both legs, both hands on our bar. We're gonna be doing a lunge series. So with that right leg back, we're going to bend each of our legs at 90 degrees and straighten. If you want, you can rest those hands on your hips. They don't need to be resting on the bar, but if you need it for balance, you can definitely do so. Making sure those hips stay square, that right knee isn't going out in front of that, or that left knee isn't going out in front of that left foot. Good. Bringing that right knee as close to the mat as we can. Good. Feeling those legs start to engage, that blood start pumping. We have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're now going to stay all the way down and just lift up slightly and then lower our knee. So we're staying in that mid-range now, all the way down, halfway up. Maybe that burn's starting to come in. I'm certainly feeling it. That's completely normal. If those legs are shaking, that's also normal. Just means they're working. Great work. Leaning into that discomfort to challenge ourselves while not pushing ourselves to the point of pain. We have 4, 3, 2, 1. Staying down in that lower range now. We're going to lift that front heel up and lower. So we're lifting that heel and lowering. If your hands weren't on the bar, maybe rest them now to balance. Staying down, keeping that back knee as close to the mat as you can. We have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. Straighten those legs. Take a minute. That was challenging. We're now going to regain our breath and do another movement. For this movement, you need to make sure that you have room in front of, to the side, and behind you. If behind you or isn't as much as an option, when we go behind us, just do a slight diagonal tilt, and that should help with room. We're going to be doing what's known as a rang de jambe. So first I'll demonstrate what that is in normal ballet terms. You can join me if you want, and then we'll add in our little bar twist. So coming into first position, which means your feet are in a slight V shape. Heels are almost touching, if not touching. Nice neutral spine. We're gonna have one hand on the bar, or inside hand. For me, that's my left leg or arm. We're going to point that right leg out in front of us. This is going to be turned out, which means the inside of our knee slightly rotated and it's up towards the ceiling. And to do a rondation, you just draw a half circle with that toe. So we're going to have a slight bend in that inside leg, and we're just going to do a half circle behind us, and then pulling it through in first position and forward. So that is the regular rondation. You learned a little bit of ballet today. For our added little bar twist, we're going to be doing that, but lifted. So we're lifting our leg off the ground. We're drawing that half circle, feeling that hip flip as it goes to the back, and then lowering it down and through first position. So that is our bar twist. So making sure we have that room behind, in front of, to the side and behind us. We're gonna lift that right leg, go to the back, and then lower it down. If you wanna add your arms, you can bring your arms over your head. And then as you go to the back, bring it in front of you for an arabesque arm. Scooting slightly forward. So we're lifting to the side, to the back, and lower. Good. So lift. I like to picture, as always, that there's a string on top of my head, and it's pulling me up towards the ceiling, keeping myself nice and lifted, just like a ballerina. We have 4 more, and then we can add on. So this is our first option. 3. We're on to our second to last for our option. Our last one, we're coming up to the side, to the back. This time we're going to do the same movement. This time though, when we go to the back, you'll have the option to tilt down and touch that hand to the mat and come back into an arabesque. I will demonstrate. So we lift up to the front, to the side. We're now in the back with that arm in front of us, and we're just going to tilt down, tap, lift up, keeping that foot lifted, and then lower. And then we're just going to repeat. So we're doing our rondation still from the front to the back, and then we tilt down to tap, lift up, and then lower that leg. So when we tilt to the back, we're going to use that inside leg to tilt us down, and then lift us back up, and then draw our leg through to rondation. For these, it's not the height of your leg that matters. We're not ballerinas. We don't need our leg up to our head. It is the correct form, really feeling like we're using those muscles to lift and lower us. Good. We have 4 more. We have 3 more left, really channeling that inner ballerina here. Tilt, lift. We have 2 more. Tilt and lift. We have 1 more. Good. And lift. Great work. We are now going to work that side of the glute before we switch that all to the other side. So keeping our hands on the bar, feet in first position, we're going to draw out that outside leg. So for me, that's my right. Our knee is now facing forward. We have a slight bend in that inside leg. We can put our inside hand on the bar, tilting slightly. We're just going to be doing side leg lifts. So you can bring that arm above your head and lift to the side and lower. So we're feeling on the side of our glute. Our knee is facing towards the inside, the front of the room. Lifting and lowering. Good. Really burning out that whole glute today. Good. We have 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. This time, when we lift up, we're going to go all the way up and halfway down. So we're back in that mid-range, not letting that foot rest. We have 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stay lifted. We're drawing in for 8 and out. We're drawing knee to elbow, letting that rib cage collapse for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. Lower that leg, regain your breath. That's a challenging little section. So take a moment. I'm going to switch my bar to the other side because we just get to repeat that all. Woo! So we're going to start with those lunges, then we'll do our rondejons and finish with those leg lifts. So starting off, I'm gonna grab a quick sip of water if you want to do the same. It's always great to hydrate. Ooh, unintentional rhyming this morning. That was not on purpose. My mind, like I said, is mush, but hey, it's letting me be a poet. So we can go ahead and go into our lunge series, hips square towards our mat, our bar, either placing our hands on our bar or on our knees. We're gonna shoot that opposite leg back. So for me, that's my left leg. My right leg is now forward. And we're just going to lunge down and up. So we're nice 90-degree bend, making sure that right leg or front foot, front knee isn't going in front of those toes. Really keeping it above that ankle, hips still square. Good. Still picturing we're sliding up and down. Lowering that back knee as close as you can to the mat. Good. We have 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're now going all the way down and halfway up. We're going back into that mid-range. Maybe those legs start to shake again. We have been working them already, so totally normal if those legs are feeling a bit fatigued. Like I said, leaning into the challenge. We have 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're now lifting that right knee up and lowering it down, our right heel. So lifting right heel and lowering. Lift, lower. We're really not moving besides that heel lift. Holding. We have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. Coming up out of that position, we're now going into those rondagens. So once again, making sure we have room in front of, behind us, and to the side. If you don't have that room behind you, when we do that arabesque, just square those hips slightly on a diagonal tilt. I might have to do that. So we're going to start by coming back to that first position, inside hand on our bar, slight bend in that inside leg. We're pointing out with our left foot now, inside the knees, facing up towards the ceiling slightly. We'll just do one practice little rondagen, drawing a half circle with our toe, before lifting it in front of us, to the side, and to the back. Good. We can use those arms, so we're lifting it above us, and then shifting into that arabesque. I will go on to that diagonal tilt. Lift, to the side. Good. So we're drawing in. If you want, you can use your eyes and follow. Looking down and up, and then in front of you. Like a class of ballerinas. Good job. We have 4 more before we're adding that tilt if you want to do it. 3. Good. 2. Last 1. Good. We can now add in that tilt. So we're lifting in front of us, going to the side, and this time we're in that arabesque. We tilt down to tap, lift up, and then down. So we're feeling that in our leg here. When we come to the back, we tilt down using the inside leg to tilt us down, and lift up, feeling that squeeze in those glutes before coming back down. So we lift, we go to the back, inside leg tilts us down, lifts us up, and we squeeze and lower. So we lift up, we go to the back, we tilt down, and then we lift back up and lower. That makes sure that we're working both those glutes for a second. Good. Tilt forward, lift, and lower. We have 4 more. Good. Tilt. Good. We have 3 more. Tilt. Good. 2 more. 1 more left. Good. And lift. Great work. We have 1 more movement, in this leg section before we go into our core and cool down on the mat. So bringing our right hand in towards the bar, slight bend on that inside leg. We're going to point out that outside leg now, knee facing towards the front of the room. Lifting that arm above us. We're going to lift to the side and lower, feeling that on the side of our glute now. Bring that arm above us. Good. Slight tilt in our body. Feeling that core engage as we lift and lower. Good. We have 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're now staying lifted. We're going halfway down and all the way up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're staying lifted and drawing in and out for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. Oh, that was a challenging leg section, but you did great. We can take that bar and push it out of the way. We just have our core left, and then we have our lovely, well-earned cool down. So if you want to grab a quick sip of water, I encourage you to do so. I am going to. We're now going to go down to our mat. We're first going to target our abdominals, but as well as our trunk, and then we'll go into some more specific abdominals work. We're going to start by pointing those feet out in front of us, planting our fingers by our shoulders, and we'll start with a reverse plank, and then we'll have an added option. So to do our reverse plank, we're going to tuck in our chin, lift our hips up off the mat, so we're drawing a nice diagonal line. This is our first option, just to stay here. However, your second option, if you choose to do so, we can incorporate another form of French dancing into our technique. We're going to lift our hips and do the can-can. So we draw our right knee in, out, and kick. And then we switch to our left leg and kick. Choosing whatever option you want. We're doing it for 10. So just picking whatever option you want to do for today's class. We're starting in 3, 2, 1. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then stay lifted and hold in that reverse plank for 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. Lower those hips onto the mat. Take a minute to stretch out those wrists. We're now going to go on our back for a quick little blast of our abdominals and core before we go into our cool down. So coming onto our mat, bringing our hands to our head or our temples, planting those feet on the ground, we're just going to start with a nice simple crunch. So tilting that pelvis in so the bottom of your back is pressed into the mat at all times. We're just going to lift our shoulders, tucking in that chin, looking towards our pelvis, and then lowering down. This is working our upper abdominals, really feeling that lift in those abdominals and lowering down that contraction and lower. Good. Engaging that core. We have 10 more. And then we're going to add on 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're now going to lift those feet off the mat. We're going to be doing what's called a C crunch. So we're going to first lower those feet onto the mat, tapping them both, and then lifting up, making sure that lower back stays pressed. This is your first option. If you want to add on, you can lift your shoulders and bring your arms to either side of your feet when they're lifted, and then lower those shoulders when you tap back onto the mat. So we're lifting up and then lowering down. This is a C crunch. It's very challenging. So if you want to keep those shoulders on the mat, no problem. It's still a great workout. But if you want to join me in that crunch, we have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. To finish off this abdominal section, we'll have a few options to target those lower abdominals one more time. The first is to just keep with what we were doing before and just lower those feet onto the mat, tapping your toes and lifting back up, making sure the bottom of that back stays pressed. Your second option, if you want to choose it, is to straighten those legs, lower them down as close as you can to the mat while keeping that lower back pressed in and up. Choose whatever option you want. We're doing 10 to finish off today's class strong. To really go into our weekend energized, we're gonna start in 3, 2, 1. So we're lowering down and up for 1, 2, 3, feeling that little lift and lower. We have 5 more, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Great work. Pull those knees into your stomach, hug them nice and tight. We're now going into our cool down. So shooting that right leg out, keeping that left leg in to roll out that ankle clockwise and then counterclockwise, getting reacquainted with your breath. Good. We can bring back in that left leg, cross our right leg over our left for a nice glute stretch, taking that right hand and pushing out on that right knee ever so slightly to just deepen that stretch of that glute a bit. You can roll out that left ankle now. Good. Now we can switch. So we're bringing that right leg out, left knee in, rolling that ankle clockwise, and then counterclockwise. Good. And we can bring that right leg back in, crossing our left over our right, 90-degree bend in both, using our left hand to slightly push out that left knee to deepen that stretch a bit. Good. Rolling out that right ankle. Good. Bringing both knees in for one final stretch here before we use our momentum to roll ourselves up into a seated position. We can plant those feet so they're together in a nice butterfly pose with a nice flat back at first, just flapping those wings slightly before walking those fingers out with a flat back as much as you can, feeling that stretching that groin, and then curving that spine over to deepen that stretch, letting that head fall down. Walking your fingers as far out as you can to deepen that stretch. Good. You can walk those fingers to the right to feel that stretch on our left side. Breathe in. Breathe out. Coming to the center and then back to the left side. Feeling that stretch on our right now. Breathe in and exhale. And then coming to the center. Breathe in. Maybe walk those fingers out a little bit further if you can. Good. We can walk ourselves back up, planting those feet onto the ground. I cannot speak, but we have a mushy mind today. Letting our hands, our head, everything in our upper body just droop over our feet. Touching your toes if you can. Nodding your head yes. Shaking your head no. Maybe making a bucket with those hands just to deepen that stretch a bit. Nodding your head yes again, and then shaking it no. Before letting those hands go, and slowly rolling up your spine, stacking each vertebra on top of each vertebra, then your head. Finally, we're going to do 3 full body stretches to finish off today's class. As always, thinking the intentions that we set met and exceeded during today's class, as well as this week, this semester, and everything. So bringing our hands above our head and stretching to the right, feeling that stretch on the left side of our body, to the center, to the left, big stretch, to the center, and then one final one above our head, and then letting go and bringing our hands to heart center. Thank you all so much. That finishes today's class. I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording.